It was late, almost 3 a.m., the kind of hour when the world holds its breath and shadows stretch too long. My landline phone rang. I froze, my heart doing a frantic little drum solo against my ribs. "Who calls at 3 a.m.? I answered it, speaking in a trembling voice, knowing fully well that you don't get good news from a call like this. She spoke softly, weaving stories I didn't understand, yet found myself hanging on every syllable. We talked for what felt like an eternity, easily stretching past the hour mark. Before the clock struck 4, the call ended abruptly. I tried to call back immediately, but all I got was a harsh, mechanical tone. I started keeping the ritual going. Every night she called. Her tone was sweet, undeniably comforting in its cadence. Yet there was always that eerie undertow whenever she spoke. It was a secret connection, a private world built on the fragile thread of an old landline. One evening, the atmosphere at home felt heavy, charged with unspoken questions and suspicion. It was one night when my mom caught me. I knew what was coming, the lecture, the grounding. But she didn't look angry. She looked scared, a deep, visceral fear that chilled me to the bone. I heard her talking to my dad in their room, the question hanging in the air like smoke. Who does she talk to? And how? My mom's voice was strained, fear evident in every syllable. I smiled, a small, practiced curve of the lips, and went back to my bed. I lay down, waiting for her call, waiting for the familiar, dreadful ring. I started questioning everything, the source, the nature, the purpose of these late-night conversations. Her suggestions were insidious, planting seeds of doubt about my life here with them. They were worried about me, yes, but their worry felt restrictive, suffocating compared to her freedom. Her voice had the power to make me forget the mundane rules of daylight and family life. I began noticing things about the phone, the faint smell of ozone, the coldness of the receiver. It felt like we had crossed some invisible threshold, entering a space where normal rules didn't apply. My mother started watching me when I left the room, a careful, unnerving scrutiny. My dad kept suggesting I needed more sunlight, a doctor's visit. All practical solutions that missed the point entirely. I resisted, clinging fiercely to the comfort that only her voice could provide. The calls became longer, the conversations more intense, filling me with both dread and profound satisfaction. She spoke of a world beyond the walls, a place where I would finally fit. I started losing track of the hours between her calls, existing only in the cycle of anticipation and release. My mother finally broke down, pleading for me to reconnect with the reality of my family. My defense was silence, punctuated by the practiced smile, the mask of contentment. I treated the landline like an extension of my own nervous system, essential for survival. I started feeling like I was being observed, not by people, but by shadows that moved when they shouldn't. A subtle shift occurred in her tone, a hint of something predatory beneath the sweetness. She referenced details about my past that I had never shared with anyone, least of all her. I began to understand that this connection wasn't for comfort. It was for something else entirely. She called one last time. The air in the room grew cold, thick with static dread. As she spoke, her voice suddenly dropped its sweet facade, revealing a deep, guttural resonance that vibrated through the floorboards. I looked at my mother and saw not worry, but a profound exhaustion, as if she had been fighting this entity all along. I realized the phone line hadn't been ringing for me. It had been calling out from within the house, drawing power from my obsession. The sweet voice belonged to the entity that had been feeding on my isolation, using me as a conduit. The last thing I saw before the ringing stopped forever was the cold, knowing look in my mother's eyes, a warning that the cycle had just begun again.